So we have a special guest with us today. And the reason I've got him on is because he frustrated me the other day about a certain situation. So, can you please tell the story?
Yeah, I guess so. The story about Alex?
No! What? What's it about?
You said story I was telling Alex Manstead?
Yeah, the one about your mum.
Okay,
Yeah.
So how do you want me to start it?
Just go. Make it short and snappy because people don't wait on YouTube anymore.
Well, can't we just clip this up?
Yeah.
Is that what we're doing?
We can.
Okay.
Okay, tell the story quickly. Make it quick. Make it quick because we know you can certainly drag your stories on.
Yeah, okay. We were just sitting down having...
Your mum called you. And she was
gotcha.
like... Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Duh.
So my mum called me, and she called me in a little bit of hysteria, and she said, Augustine, why am I always the last to know? She's from Argentina, by the way, so she's English as a second language.
If you couldn't tell.
And I said, this was a Friday afternoon, so I was a little bit flustered, I was a little bit tired. I said, what are you talking about, Mum? And she said, you know what I'm talking about. And I was like, no, I have no idea what you're talking about. You just rang me up out of the blue to tell me that you're the last to know about something that I don't know about. And she said, I've seen the video. And I was like, what are you talking about, Mum? And she said, Dee, put the video on YouTube, and you didn't tell me. And I was like, Mum, I'm 30 seconds away from slamming this phone down. Just tell me what is going on. And she said, you and Dee are trying for a baby. And I was like, what?
And then when Gus told one of our friends this story, I was like, what do you mean? So the reason so there's been multiple occasions where I've talked about the pregnancy prep, and you would think that your partner, I don't know, looks at your Instagram account or sees that you've posted something like a promo reel for the YouTube video that you've just created because you're trying to help people fall pregnant and document your own journey. But this is probably the reason why I didn't explicitly sit you down. There's actually two reasons. The first reason is because I already know that I'm planning months in advance. I know everyone's like, oh, you're planning on falling pregnant. So when's the next time you ovulate? But I really don't ever recommend that for people. And I wouldn't do that myself. I think you mentally have to be ready for a good 6 months prior. And actually, we were just talking about this at a kid's birthday party, funnily enough, with another couple. And they were talking about, falling pregnant in a few years. And I was like, yeah, well, you want to have that, you need to do this stopping smoking, stopping drinking, not stopping drinking, but just you've got to prep your body for a good 6 months prior. Gus, I also need to tell Gus what he needs to do. And actually, I might do that in maybe another vlog where we actually just sit down and I just explain to you what I think would be beneficial for him because he's going to be half this baby. But the other reason was as well is that, Gus, you've always said to me, and actually this surprised me. We had a conversation once and Gus, you said to me that I was kind of okay, obviously it's very hard on a female body and we have to do all the breastfeeding, which I just think even just breastfeeding on its own is just so intense, but also the pregnancy, holding the baby, labor. You need to recover from labor. And then it's there's all that recovery. And then on top of that, you may or may not be breastfeeding, but you're both sleep deprived.
Have you ever been kicked in the balls?
Oh my God.
I don't know.
Wow. But no, look, listen, but but I think that it's so much recovery for the female, and then on top of that, you want to you need to be physically ready where you have nutrient stores that you've built up over time, because as soon as that baby starts growing, you're going to give everything in storage to your baby. And I was saying to somebody the other day, your body's like a house. So your body is the house. And then as soon as someone lives in the house, they're going to start eating up all the food. That is exactly what's happening with your nutrients. And so you've got to go through, I think, a detox first. I think that's the best thing to do. So you clean out the garbage in the house and then you start stocking the house up, thinking, okay, if someone was to live in this house for 9 months or, I know you're eating all throughout those 9 months and restocking, but if someone was to eat in this house for a few months, what would I want to be putting in the house? So, I'm the queen of analogies, so whatever. But that's the way that I really see it. So for me, I hadn't been ready. And then Gus, I remember we had a conversation and I was actually so surprised because you had said to me, like, I basically was like, when do you want to have another baby? This was like maybe 6 months ago. I was like, when do you want to have another baby? And you said to me, you're like, oh, like when we're ready, but really like you're already ready. Like you basically said to me that like you don't mind and that you're waiting for me. And like I like went through this whole like, I felt so bad about that because I was like, oh, like I'm holding up your life because I'm not ready yet. I'm not good enough. But that's my own like stuff, my own mental stuff. But like I think that's probably why I didn't like explicitly go, hey, like, I mean, I thought I did, but obviously I didn't do it enough. I know I've got a lot going on most of the time. But yeah, so that's kind of why like, yeah, I didn't like really sit you down. But now that we're here,
yeah.
Like
put it on me.
I'm about to ovulate now. I was telling Gus about cervical mucus and how it changes, and I said to him, "Lol," I said to him, "So I have some fertile mucus," and that basically, like as a female, like when you wipe, just feels different, right? It feels a little bit more like egg whitey, and it's just like more like it's meant to like stick sperm to it, so it's going to have to change. Where your cervix changes and all that sort of stuff as well, but like the actual like the fluids are changing because it's trying to trapping it. So I was saying to Gus, I was like, oh, I've got like fertile mucus, so what do you say? And you were like, what's fertile mucus? And I was like, that's a really good point, like we should probably talk about that. It's like in the 5 days leading up to when you ovulate, so when an egg comes down and it's waiting, in those 5 days leading up to it, your body is prepping. Same like the house analogy, like your body is prepping and you're trying to prep yourself, but your body actually does that and tries to prep for a sperm potentially if it's around to then trap it so that it can pull it into the egg, and then you can conceive basically. And I've spoken about this in a previous video on this pregnancy prep series that when you ovulate, are you bored?
No.
When you ovulate, you have like a 24 to 48 hour window where you're still fertile. They usually say that like you're more likely, the closer you have sex to when you ovulate, the more likely you are to have a boy, and the further you are when you have sex, the more likely you are to have a girl. So like usually, they say that the chances are higher because the male sperm swimmers are faster. So like they are ruthless and push through and like get to the egg quickly because they're fast swimmers, but they die really quickly. Isn't that just like an analogy for me?
Go hard.
So yeah, I mean, those are little tips. Don't be quoting me, like calling me up and like, hey, I'm having a girl and you said I would be having a boy. No, it's just that they say that the chances are higher. Yeah, so that's like what happens with the fertile mucus. So that said, it's February. Actually, we're just about to come up to our 6 years. I thought it was 7, but we're just about to come up to our 6 years on Monday, on Valentine's Day.
Feels like 70.
Yeah. I wonder what we're going to look like in 70 years. Will we be alive? Maybe. I will be. I was thinking about this the other day.
Probably.
I'm definitely going to outlive you. Like 100% I'm going to outlive you.
I don't think so.
Nah, I reckon I'll outlive you.
I'll be like an AI robot.
Yeah, actually
like
you would.
Part machine.
True, that's true. You would do that.
Human.
You would do that. Gus loves tech. He's the tech man. Okay, so are you still equally as happy no matter when I fall pregnant? Like, are you just like, whatever?
Are you proposing to me? Is this like a proposal? Like a baby proposal?
Like, I guess so, yeah. Yeah. I mean,
like a very casual baby proposal.
Because you, yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know. I still feel like part of me is scared. Like I'm still scared to fall pregnant. But at the end of the day, we've done an amazing job with Billie. And we did that being so much less prepared than we are now.
Of course.
So I feel like if we fell pregnant, like we'd smash it. We work it out. Like we're very good like that. We're very good at being put in like shit situation and just figuring it out. Like we're a very good team like that, I think. So yeah. Okay. So like, what does that mean though? Is that like a yes in the next couple of days? Because essentially it would be like...
Right now? Is it like, should we just not go to the gym? Is that what you're proposing to me?
No, but like, it would be like at some time this week that we would like, it's like this week, you know?
We go and do an F45 second workout.
You have a way to make like beautiful things like making love so terrible. Look, I'm equally happy to like wait another month or so. Not because I'm trying to like delay things, but I don't know. I just there's a few things, like there's a new FlowFit product coming out that I know you guys will absolutely love. Like I know that for a fact. But stuff like that stresses me out, and I feel like I want to have that like under control. But at the same time, I also, when I think of other people, like I know like one of my best friends, I remember her saying to me, she's like, no, I'm going to wait till this. I'm like, you can't just like wait, you know, until every duck is in a row and like the world is perfectly aligned, you know. So maybe I'm doing that. I don't know. But anyway.
I would say that the world is never perfectly aligned.
Yeah.
For birth.
But don't you also feel like you can feel more ready and like more at peace with the decision?
Well, yes, but I definitely think I could do more preparing myself.
Yes, okay, and that's another point. So maybe we just like focus on like just enjoying ourselves like until after the wedding, because there's my brother's getting married on the weekend, and so I remember thinking to myself at the time of the wedding, I'm gonna be ovulating, but I feel like let's just enjoy the wedding, because then that way I can have a drink, because I was also like really cautious of that when I was pregnant with Billie. Like I think it was like a week, I had my little sister's birthday. I never drink, like hardly ever, and I went so hard that night, and I was so sick that I felt like I had like a mental breakdown. Do you remember?
Yep.
Yeah. It was. Yeah. It was
the first
bad.
part of the night. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It was really bad. Anyway, and then like I remember stressing out, and I was like, oh my gosh, I was drinking. Like I had a big night of drinking, when Billie was just like, I don't know, like maybe she was building a heart. Like it makes me feel so bad. Like I don't know, but
I would like to go on a FlowFit program for men.
Yeah,
to prepare myself. If you write up a program,
I can do that
for X amount of time.
Hey, actually, that's a very good point, because I know a lot of people do FlowFit with their boyfriends, and I actually don't even think that FlowFit, like it is definitely perfectly aligned for PCOS. But if your boyfriend or your partner or your brother or your housemate wants to do it too, I really think that it is so great, because men don't want to have estrogen that is like toxic estrogen like circling around them. Like think moobs, think, you know, I don't know, like all that, like when you have like high estrogen as a male, like, you know, so there's no harm in detoxifying estrogens. I mean, yes, guys' bodies are different, but they're still going to get the benefits of eating healthy, you know, following like a plan, a step, you know, making sure that they've got lots of nutrients, gut health, detoxification. And I think gut health, detoxification, and blood sugar balance are the three underpinning like pillars of FlowFit as well. Like, yes, there's the pillars of fuel, move, and focus, but those other three are like the three systems that like I'm really trying to help people's bodies fix. So, like, I think the supplement protocol would be different for you. And, like, I talk to you all the time. Like, you know I'm a massive journaler. Mm-hmm. And I also think you have to be as much, like, mentally prepared as you have to be physically prepared. So I will definitely put him on a supplement protocol, and we'll talk about that and discuss it. But, yeah, I think I can get you set up.
I think it would be very handy to give to all of the partners of people who are trying to do FlowFit, to say, here you go. Give this to your partner.
Yeah.
That's them.
Yeah.
As sorted as possible in the most basic way.
Yeah. And like, I definitely know that there are ways that you can optimize and streamline it specifically for men. And actually, I'm about to go on a podcast next week. So, and he's very much like me, but for guys. So I might actually like talk to him about that. But you know, when it comes to fertility for females, I'm your gal. But FlowFit as is would still be beneficial for a male. But I would definitely, I'll map it out for you, and then like we'll discuss it on camera, and I'll write it down, and and then that way it's just like a bit of information, maybe tweaks on FlowFit for men.
Also, it's just so practical if you're doing flow fit as a female and your partner, and you live with your partner, it's just easy for them to eat the food,
Yeah.
do the same exercise, do the same protocols.
Such a hassle. Like, I remember there was one time where you were eating really heavy protein, like basically a carnivore diet. I was trying to do a bit more plant-based and like higher fiber. And then we had Billie, like baby food. And it was like cooking 3 meals, like all the time. And it was so frustrating. So yeah, I definitely agree with that. Okay, well, this is not the month just yet. But happy Valentine's Day to you and all your lovers. And we'll come back with the plan that where Gus, like, I think the next month we just focus on like you prepping as much as me prepping, because I'm doing flow fit to prep. That's essentially what I'm doing. Yeah, I think that'd be awesome.
Okay.
Cool. Do you want to kiss me? Just like finish it off like as like a nice closure. Bye.